On June 11, 2025, the world witnessed a pivotal moment as the United States and China jointly announced a new trade truce, signaling a potential turning point in their long-standing economic rivalry. This breakthrough came after 2 days of intense, high-stakes negotiations in London, where both delegations worked late into the night to hammer out the details. President Trump took to the podium to break the news, describing the outcome as a framework agreement, one that still requires final approval from both leaders, but which lays the groundwork for a possible end to months of escalating tensions. The deal is designed to halt the spiraling trade war that has sent shockwaves through global markets, especially after the United States imposed a staggering 145% tariff on Chinese goods back in April, a move that triggered immediate retaliation from Beijing. The London talks, led by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent for the U.S. and China's Vice Commerce Minister Li Chenggang, made it clear that both sides were feeling the economic pain. Businesses, workers, and entire industries were caught in the crossfire. Nearly $600 billion in annual trade was hanging in the balance, with ripple effects reaching far beyond the borders of the two superpowers, threatening jobs, supply chains, and economic growth worldwide. Small businesses on both sides of the Pacific were especially vulnerable, facing uncertainty about the future of their exports and imports, while workers worried about layoffs and shrinking paychecks. The new framework is intended to pause the conflict, giving both nations a chance to step back from the brink and create space for more comprehensive, lasting solutions to their deep-rooted disagreements. While this is not a final peace, it represents a significant de-escalation, a rare moment of compromise in a relationship often defined by competition and suspicion. Around the globe, governments, investors, and ordinary citizens are watching closely to see if this truce will hold, or if it's merely a temporary pause in a much longer struggle for economic dominance and influence. For now, there's a sense of cautious optimism. Many hope that the cycle of tariffs and retaliation, which has disrupted markets and livelihoods, might finally slow down, allowing for a period of stability and renewed dialogue. This agreement is a critical step back from the edge of a full-blown economic confrontation, offering both sides a chance to reconsider their strategies and priorities. But the real test lies ahead. Can both nations turn this fragile pause into a foundation for genuine cooperation, or will old grievances and new pressures push them back toward conflict? Only time will tell if this new deal marks the beginning of a more stable era, or just another chapter in a turbulent rivalry. The London Truce is built on a simple exchange, but the details reveal just how carefully both sides are treading. After months of escalating tensions and tit-for-tat measures, negotiators from both countries finally sat down to hammer out a temporary peace. The stakes were high, with global markets watching every move and industries on both sides feeling the pressure. In the agreement, both sides pledged to roll back their most damaging recent measures, signaling a willingness to step back from the brink. This rollback is not just about tariffs. It's about restoring a sense of predictability to international trade and calming the nerves of businesses caught in the crossfire. China's key promise is to supply the U.S. with rare earths and magnets, materials that are absolutely vital for American technology, renewable energy, and defense industries. These resources are the backbone of everything from smartphones to fighter jets, making this commitment a significant gesture of cooperation. In return, the U.S. has agreed to ease export limits on ethane and airplane parts, which are crucial for China's growing industries. Additionally, the U.S. will drop a proposal for new visa restrictions on Chinese students, a move that reassures families and universities alike and helps maintain important educational and cultural ties. These moves are designed to restore stability and show goodwill, but the deal is narrow in scope. It's a carefully calibrated set of concessions meant to build trust without giving away too much. It doesn't solve the deeper issues, just resets the relationship to before the spring's harshest tariffs. The underlying disputes over technology, intellectual property, and market access remain unresolved, casting a long shadow over the talks. The agreement is a deliberate attempt to stop the bleeding and create a more positive atmosphere for future talks. Both sides hope this pause will open the door to more meaningful negotiations down the line. Both sides are making calculated concessions to prevent further escalation, knowing that another round of retaliation could be far more damaging. The truce is fragile, but it's a necessary pause. It gives both countries a chance to regroup, consult with their industries, and prepare for the next phase of talks. The real challenges remain unresolved. The most contentious issues like technology transfer, subsidies, and enforcement are still on the table, waiting for future negotiations. This is just the first step in a much longer process. Both sides know that building lasting trust will take time, patience, and a willingness to compromise on both sides. China's pledge to supply rare earths and magnets is the centerpiece of the deal for the U.S. These 17 metals are essential for everything from smartphones to fighter jets, and China controls most of the world's supply. The U.S. has long feared that China could weaponize this dominance, threatening American manufacturing and security. The agreement guarantees immediate delivery of these materials, easing fears of sudden shortages. In recent months, China had tightened exports, alarming U.S. industries and investors. By relaxing these restrictions, Beijing is trading leverage for relief from U.S. tariffs. For Washington, this secures vulnerable supply chains and calms economic anxiety. The rare earths promise highlights just how intertwined and tense the U.S.-China economic relationship has become. It's a strategic trade-off, not a surrender. Both sides are hoping this move will stabilize a critical part of their economic ties. The U.S. also made key concessions to secure the deal, signaling a willingness to ease some of the recent tensions that have defined the relationship between the two economic giants. It agreed to lift export restrictions on ethane, a crucial input for plastics, and on airplane parts, both important to China's industries. These materials are vital for China's manufacturing sector, which relies on steady imports to keep its factories running and its global supply chains intact. These rollbacks help American energy and aerospace companies regain access to a major market, opening up new opportunities for growth and restoring some of the business lost during the trade standoff. The U.S. also dropped plans for new visa restrictions on Chinese students, a move welcomed by universities and seen as a diplomatic olive branch. American colleges, which have long benefited from the presence of international students, breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that these students contribute not just to campus diversity, but also to local economies and research innovation. These steps are targeted. They ease immediate pain without dismantling the broader tariff structure. The core framework of tariffs and trade barriers remains in place, but these adjustments offer a measure of relief to industries and communities feeling the strain. The concessions are significant enough to show good faith, but limited enough to maintain leverage. By carefully calibrating these rollbacks, the U.S. aims to encourage further negotiation while still holding on to bargaining power for future talks. For American businesses, the relief is real, but partial. Many companies are still grappling with uncertainty, and some sectors remain heavily impacted by ongoing restrictions and tariffs. The student visa decision also helps repair diplomatic ties beyond trade. It sends a message that the U.S. values educational and cultural exchange, which can foster long-term goodwill between the two nations. Together, these actions form the U.S. side of the bargain, representing a strategic attempt to stabilize relations and create space for further dialogue. The hope is that this will be enough to keep the fragile peace, allowing both sides to claim progress while avoiding escalation. But the underlying tensions remain, and the path forward is still uncertain. Both countries know that even small steps can have big consequences in this delicate balancing act.